Before we get started with today's podcast, we'd like to ask returning listeners to leave us a rating or review on your favorite podcast platform, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really enjoy it, share a link to this podcast with friends or family who would enjoy hearing our weekly discussions about basketball and basketball culture. Now, on to the show.
Jen, isn't it amazing when Michigan can keep this game to a 19-foot, 9-inch game inside that three-point line? It's all there. Nice move by Steve Fisher here. Turn it into the 19-9 game.
Welcome to the 99 podcast. I'm Josh Barnett, and today I'm here with a buddy of mine and the head coach at North Posey High School here in Evansville. Well, are you guys actually located in Evansville?
Just outside of Evansville.
Anyways, his name's Heath Howington, and he joined me down here, and we were shooting the shit a little bit, and I said, you know what, man, I'm going to throw your ass in this pod, and we're going to get this thing done, and he said, okay.
Let's do it. I appreciate you having me on today. Love the place.
Absolutely. We're always happy to have guests down here. We are social distancing. We're not 6 feet apart, but it's close enough. So I've known Heath for, a long time. My first memories of Heath is coming home from parties with Wes and seeing you and Kyle out in the driveway, like shooting over ladders and in between chairs and shit.
Yeah, well, you just showed me that Steve Alford VHS tape, and we definitely had those chairs out in the Atterbury driveway, staying out there pretty late. So that's where the passion started.
I remember pulling up, and I was like, Wes, who in the fuck are these two little dudes out here? And he's like, man, that's my brother and his little friend Heath. He was like, them dudes are nuts. And I was like, they do this all the time? He's like, yeah, all the time. How old were you then?
That's all we did. We were probably 7th grade, 8th grade. That's where it started. I was an only child, so always looking for a brother to have, and Kyle was that guy. And, of course, we always looked up to Wes so much. So Wes would not let us get on that court a whole lot. So when he was out and about with his buddies, that was our chance to shine.
What, did you guys ever ball at Gulfmore?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd tag along with Wes. And
I remember some of that.
Yeah.
I remember Wes got real fired up one day when they wouldn't let Kyle play because they said Kyle was too little because he was little back then, too.
Yeah,
He's not anymore. Neither are you. But you guys were little as shit back in the day.
Yeah, we were late bloomers, but we'd go with Wes a lot when they went and played pickup ball. And we didn't get to play all the time, but we were over there watching and learning and shooting on the side. So that's, again, man, that's where that passion started.
We're already off the rails, way off the agenda that I told you that I jotted down like 30 seconds ago and said this is what we're going to talk about. But let's get into Gulfmore a little bit because I love Gulfmore.
Let's do it.
Our listeners know that. You're a coach now at North Posey, head coach, 8 years, you said, right?
Yep.
And we'll get into your origin story and all that stuff. A question that I've had, and I've asked the guys that Slam this and some of our other our guests in the past, has the playground game died? Is it done? Is it over? Or do your guys that are coming up through North Posey still have places that they go and that they play, and they're playing against grown men, and you know there's a day or a certain time or whatever that they're out there playing on the parks instead of inside? Does that still happen?
I hope it's not over. It's definitely changed. The landscape has since you and I were in high school. That's all we did is each night was a different park to go play at, and you were there for a long time. Where we're at, it's a little different. Not as many opportunities for guys to link up and play at a park. But
why is that though?
That's a good question.
Is it too many AAU teams now?
Yeah, I think that's really changed things. People think that they have to get better indoors, and just the driveway basketball is much different. Not as many playgrounds and so on.
I wonder why that changed though? It like breaks my heart because I was a Gulfmore guy through and through, like die hard, and I mean I was a wuss too, so like I needed Gulfmore, like I needed these old dudes just beating me up, and then because of that I was not a pussy anymore.
Yep.
But if I didn't have that, you know, if I would have just played with my age group the whole time, I wouldn't have been any good. Not that I was any good to begin with, but I wouldn't have been anything at all.
Playing on that blacktop, it builds toughness. Playing against older guys, it's just something that it's ingrained in the two of us for sure.
And now, a word from our sponsor. AZIP Pizza is a build-your-own pizza place in Indiana and Kentucky. They have unique pizzas each month, like the White Lightning, an Alabama white barbecue pizza, and a ton of ingredients you can choose from to create something delicious on your own. Order online for curbside delivery at azippizza.com/order. Now, back to the show.
All right, let's get back on track. I'm sorry, I derailed the whole thing, but it's my podcast, so I don't give a shit. I can do what I want. Your origin story. Tell me how you fell in love with the game. Start from the beginning. We kind of hit on it a little bit earlier, but let me start by saying you have the most unorthodox full court basketball court in your driveway of all time, and I only know that because I'd always deliver shirts that your mom would order you from '99. And I'd always pull in and try to figure out the angles of playing full court out there. But the setup's dope.
Yeah, that's all we did growing up. Friday and Saturday nights, my buddies would come over and I'd have my phone book where I'd call them their home phones. And I still memorize my best friend's home phone numbers because we get a game going.
I remember my girlfriend's ones. That's the craziest part. I guess that's who I called the most. You know what I mean? But I can still recite like 3 or 4 old girlfriend ones.
No doubt.
No friends though, but all the girls. We might do a YouTube or a podcast where I just start dialing those numbers again, seeing who pops on there.
Just see where it goes.
Yeah, but that's funny. But kids these days can't even relate to the home phone stuff.
No.
Because you most time you end up talking to parents like, is Heath there? Yep. Okay, thanks.
You got a small talk with mom and dad first.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. That's where it started, is in the driveway. It wasn't an unorthodox setup at mom and dad's. We called it full court. It really wasn't full court, but we'd play to 40 by 2s and 3s, switch at 20, and one of the goals, the backboard was kind of dead, so Kyle Atterbury, he really understood how to use the bank to his advantage. But you get a long rebound, you got a layup at the other one.
Absolutely.
So. But yeah, I mean, that's...
Which is not too undifferent than how Gulfmore was set up, though, too.
Pretty similar.
I mean? Yours was probably a little bit smaller than the Gulfmore setup. You probably didn't have as much real estate out there.
Yeah, perfect 2-on-2 games, full court we called it, and sometimes 3-on-3. Got a little crowded, but...
Any fights?
We had some scuffles out there. There's no doubt about it.
Is there one that stands out?
Probably shouldn't say it on air, but
it doesn't matter. Nobody's listening.
But yeah, I mean, just growing up on the west side of Evansville, playing for Coach Adams, he just instilled a love for the game, and that's why you and I are sitting here right now. His summer camps and open gyms. Coach is still a basketball junkie, and he's just been such an influence on my life, and I'm sure your life too.
Coach Patton, too?
Coach Patton, too.
Coach Patton's a man.
Yep.
We had Coach Patton on the pod a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but he's the man. Played for Coach Patton the last year he was at Wrights before he went to...
Oh, right. That would have been right in that change.
Yep. 2000, 2001, we were 20-0 on his JV team.
He talked about you guys.
Yep.
On the pod.
Just a special group, special team, and, hopefully... gave him an opportunity to be a head coach at South Knox.
Yeah, he loves it. I mean, He still loves that team. He was talking glowingly about you. Did you have Brink JV?
No, he wasn't on staff then.
Okay.
But
Brink's a legend.
Another legend, West Side legend.
I got to get Brinkmeyer down here.
Yep.
He would be a great podcast. He's wild, man.
He's the man. He'll have some stories for you.
Where'd you go to middle school?
I went to Perry Heights.
Boo.
Yep. Perry Heights Panthers.
Boo. Yep. Did you play ball there too?
Yep. Yeah,
Did you guys have good teams? Perry Heights usually had pretty good teams.
Yeah, we always beat the Pumas.
Bullshit. Bullshit. That's funny. So for those that don't know, Perry Heights and Helfrich both feed into Wrights. That's a big rivalry. That shit meant everything in middle school.
Yep.
Like everything.
Got to play that game at Wrights, the court that we'd one day play on. So just always a special game.
See, back in my day, we played it at Cynthia Heights.
Okay.
And then it moved to Wrights.
Yep.
My 8th grade year, I think.
Yep.
Cynthia Heights was pretty fun to play at, too.
Yep. Good gym.
Everybody that's listening to this, not from Evansville, was like, what the fuck are these two guys talking about?
All the West Siders appreciate it, though.
Absolutely. So you get into coaching. Did you go to school knowing that you were going to do that? I mean, college. Did you go to college knowing that you were wanted to go into education and become a coach? And did you want to go into education to coach, or was it like, hey, I'm in education, so I'll go ahead and coach?
Yeah, I want to credit Coach Adams and Coach Patton, those guys that influenced us, and just seeing the impact they had on not only me but the rest of our teammates. I knew I wanted to have that impact on other people, so went to USI to study education, and didn't play basketball in college, but a good friend of mine, Nathan Fleener, was the head freshman coach.
Mo Pokey.
You know Pokey, head freshman coach at Harrison High School, and he asked me if I wanted to help him out while I was in college. So I said, sure thing.
I didn't know that.
Yep, started volunteering, so that's kind of where I got my start. And was at Harrison for 2 years, and student taught at Evansville North. Coach Stippler asked me if I wanted to be his freshman coach while I was student teaching. So bounced over there, and then made a couple trips in Bloomington before I made my way back down here.
That's pretty interesting. So, yeah, you go from USI. How did you end up at Bloomington South under the legend Coach Holmes, right?
Yeah, so I was at Evansville North student teaching, and I really liked it there. I wanted to stay close to home. I love Evansville.
Old North or New North?
Old North.
Old North.
Yeah, one of the best gyms.
No doubt. That thing's just sitting there collecting pigeon shit right now.
But yeah, just had to get a teaching job, had to support, and there weren't any local opportunities to be a business teacher, so moved up to Bloomington and was a teacher at Eastern Green High School. Worked under Andy Eigel, still a good friend and mentor of mine. I was living about 5 minutes away from Bloomington South, and so that next year an opportunity arose and got to move over there and work with who I think is the best coach to ever do it in the state of Indiana, and that's J.R. Holmes.
Yeah. And what was his son in school yet when you took over?
His son played at North Carolina, and I remember...
Right, but was he at Bloomington South when you were there? Or no, he had already graduated?
He had graduated.
Yeah, because I played against that dude in AAU. He was the truth.
He was.
He's often, not very often talked about when you talk about some of the high school guys that came through Indiana. He was legit, though. I mean, that dude could ball, and ends up at North Carolina, and nobody even talks about him. I'm like, that fucker ended up at North Carolina. Was legit, man.
Yeah.
Shot the shit out of the ball.
Yeah, and growing up, I was a diehard Tar Heel fan, and I remember going in to meet Coach Holmes for the first time, sitting in his office and looking around his office and seeing John Holmes in a North Carolina jersey. And
yeah,
that was incredible.
Did you have you ever gone to a North Carolina game?
Yep.
Have you? When'd you go?
Yeah, when we were in college, we made a road trip out there.
Nice. And
we got tickets. They played Miami.
Okay.
We were the very last row in that place.
That's okay.
And we were so happy. You would have thought we had front row seats and VIP passes.
It's pretty good for some broke college kids, though.
Yeah, we made a trip out to North Carolina, and then the next day we got to go out to Duke and walk on the court, see things. It was a bucket list thing for sure.
Yeah, we've done that too. We haven't been to any games at either one yet, but maybe when they give 99 licensing, we'll parade our asses right on out there.
Hopefully that's right around the corner.
We hope so too. All right, so give me some Bloomington South highlights, because you guys had some really successful years while you were there, right?
Yeah, I was pretty lucky to be there from 2008 to 2011. 3-year span, we were 75-3, won 2 state titles in 4A. I was there for Jordan Hull's senior year. That was my first year. He went on to be Mr. Basketball. We finished, according to USA Today, number 3 in the country.
Wow.
Went 26-0. That next year, we were we had won our first 23 games, and we got to the regional final. At that point, we had won 49 games in a row.
Damn.
We were 1 game away from tying a really good Lawrence North team, and I'll let you guess who was on that team.
Yeah, right. That's the Odin Conley guys.
Odin Conley guys. So we were one.
How old were they?
When
you played them? Because the Pike had some really good teams.
Well, we didn't play then. We got beat by Jeffersonville, but we were one game away from tying their 50-game streak.
Gotcha. Sorry, I misunderstood.
So yeah, 49 in a row, got beat, and then the next year went 26-2 and won another state title. But just what I learned under Coach Holmes and being a part of that organization is definitely tried to implement bits and pieces.
For sure. I was going to ask, what's one of the main things that you take away from that experience? Like what's a one adage or one philosophy or one saying or something that kind of stuck with you from that time, if you have one off the top of your head?
Really, I just think creating a family atmosphere is something that Coach Holmes did at Bloomington South and still does. He called me yesterday and we talked on the phone for 20 minutes just about everything. A couple weeks ago. Cool. Yeah, a couple weeks ago we had Jordan Hulls as our first Twitter Talk guest, and I know we'll talk more about that here in a little bit, but just creating that family atmosphere and investing in the relationships, same stuff that you guys are doing here at 19.9.
Oh, people always assume that that's easy just by being a good person, but it's not necessarily. Like, there's a lot that goes into being a head coach and creating that community and that family feeling. And I think when you talk to people outside of coaching, not that I'm inside it, but when you talk to people outside of coaching, I don't think they understand the time commit of what it is, because if you guys want to be successful, you have to get down to the grassroots of it, and you have to get down into your elementary programs, your middle school programs, your freshman programs, your JV you're not just the varsity head coach, you're the everything coach. And not only that, you have to have good people helping you every step of the way. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's all about your people, and you're not just coaching a team, you're leading a program. And we were fortunate enough to play for Coach Adams, who I think runs the best summer camp in the state of Indiana.
His summer camps are unbelievable, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of coaches will...
I mean, honestly, they are.
A lot of coaches will try to find a way to have the shortest summer camp and make the most money possible. I think Coach Adams has the opposite philosophy. He barely charges enough to cover anything. A T-shirt or a basketball cost.
And everybody gets a T-shirt, everybody gets a basketball, everybody gets a medal. There's trophy for the winners of the stuff. Knox, my son, goes up to him now. Yeah. And so I pulled Coach aside last summer. He might have cut it down last summer. He might have cut it to an hour last summer.
Okay.
But it might have been the summer before that where it was 2 hours with Knox's age group, which would have been like 5 and 6 year olds. And he held their attention for those full 2 hours with stuff. The camp was great. Yep. Pulled him aside. I think we paid $25, maybe $50 at the max. It was a 2-week camp.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I pulled him off the side and I said, Coach, you're fucking insane. I'm like, you've got to stop this madness. This is pure madness.
Yep.
Like, cut this down to a week, make it 2 hours. If you don't want to cut it down to a week and make it 2 weeks, make it 1 hour. Charge $50 more, like something. I'm like, this is the most unbelievable shit I've ever seen. I was like, but you're like, what are you doing to yourself?
You talk about
but
guy,
he's ate up with it. He loves it.
He's a junkie. He always has been. He still is. And he's obviously in this thing for the right reasons. He's not in it to make money or get in and out as quick as possible. He's building a program, and you look at what he's done. We've had a chance to learn from him, and another program that we're trying to implement bits and pieces of in the North Posey.
Yeah. But all you guys are kind of fucking nuts, really, if you're going to be head coaches.
Yeah.
That's a big time commit, man.
Yeah, it's definitely a we over me thing, and it's not just me, it's my family that's sacrificing too. So
that's what I was heading into. How tough is it on your family? How do you manage being a head coach and putting in all that time, all those late nights and stuff, and then still be raising two young kids? Your kids are ages what?
With 5 and 2. Two boys, yeah.
5 and 2, and then your wife is a principal too, right?
Yeah, she's a principal at a Catholic school in Hobstadt, so pretty busy. We make it work. I don't think we know any other way.
Boys come around the gym a lot?
Oh, yeah. They come with me on Saturday mornings, and they love it. Our team loves it.
Yeah.
And it's just, you grow up in the Wrights gym, and you always saw Drew coming around with Coach Adams. And
Evan
you
with
just thought,
Brink.
you just thought how cool that was and how special of a connection that was. Not only with Drew and Coach, as a father and son, and
Yeah.
but it just the relationship we had with Drew and bringing him along. So.
And they love it too. I'm sure the boys love coming in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love it, and they're so
And then
good
they're
to
gonna
him.
be like, man, my dad has access to a gym when they're able to shoot and dribble and want to work on their game. Like, come on, Dad, let's go to the gym. You're like, God damn it, I'm trying to get away from this thing.
You hope they grow up to love it. We just got a Gorilla basketball goal on our driveway a couple weeks ago, and
Damn, how much money do they pay you at North Posey? Get one of them Gorilla goals
Well,
put up, man.
fortunate enough that my aunt and uncle moved a few months ago, and they had one, so they didn't want the goal at their new house. So
Is that you telling Streeter he needs to up your paycheck a little bit? That's the.
I wouldn't disagree with that, but yeah, we are pretty lucky to have a new goal on our driveway. So.
All right, so speaking of North Posey, first head coaching gig, signed on to take over what year? When did you sign with them?
Started at North Posey in 2012.
2012. What kind of program did you inherit? What did you come into?
Yeah, being in Bloomington, I met a girl, and which I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, and I'll get to where you're talking. But we talked about Kyle Atterbury earlier. Wasn't really in the market for a girlfriend at the time.
There's a market for that?
Yeah, but your best friend says, "Hey, you need to come out here and meet this girl." It's your best friend, so you have to listen to him. So went out there and met her at this Summerfest thing in Hobstadt, and that was it. So was in Bloomington, loved it up there, but met a girl, moved back home, and like I said, been at North Posey since 2012. Took over a program led by Matt Wadsworth.
Okay.
Matt's currently the head coach at Edgewood High School.
Where's that at?
Just outside of Bloomington.
Okay.
Ellettsville, you pass it all the time heading up there. So he did a really good job, had the program in a nice place, and was able to just try to carry on that momentum.
That's cool. And so 8 years later, where you guys at?
I think we're just building one day at a time, trying to create.
Don't give me the coach.
Atmosphere.
Don't give me the coach speak. Heath, come on, man.
No, it's.
But you guys have seen some success. You've had some really good players come through there. I follow you guys on Instagram. I like a shit ton of North Posey basketball posts.
Yep.
So I try to keep up on it. It's too far of a drive for me to come up there and watch anything, though.
Yeah, taking over a program.
But free tickets might change that.
We can take care of that. Taking over a program, hadn't won a sectional since 1966, and unfortunately still haven't. But this past season, made it to the sectional final and lost in overtime by 1 point and had 2 shots to win it. So
that's kind of an amazing stat, that 66 stat.
Yep.
But some of that speaks to the competition in the sectionals, too, because you guys are going up against a lot of the city schools and stuff like that, too, or at one time were. But you're talking about the Totans that came through there. There's been some good basketball players that have come through. I mean, and North Posey's had some good teams, too.
Yeah, we've had some good teams. I think one of the toughest 2A sectionals in the state.
Who else in your sectional?
Mater Dei, South Spencer, Forest Park, Tecumseh, and Southridge. Southridge just joined last year. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so 6-team sectional, one of the toughest ones. But
you get out of that sectional, who knows what happens, though.
Yeah, and 1 possession away from it. And then 2 years prior to that, lost on a buzzer beater in the sectional championship to Forest Park, who went on to the state finals. So we're
one of those things.
Knocking on the door, just have to keep working harder.
Yeah, for sure. Where were you guys at? Had you already been eliminated in sectionals when everything got canceled? Well, obviously the sectional was over. How did your season end? Who'd you guys get beat by?
South Spencer. We lost to them by 1 point in overtime in the sectional final. And
that was this year.
That was
this past year.
They're a ranked team, 22-4, really good basketball team, and after that, it was just a weird time because
for sure,
right after sectionals, they decided, I think it was that next Friday, that they weren't going to play the regionals. So that would have been bittersweet, but I would have took winning the sectional championship and then just getting the rug pulled from underneath me. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
That's a tough way to lose, but at least you completed the season, though, right?
Yep.
There was closure
to
it, whereas if you advance on, it becomes this huge what if,
Yeah. And
maybe there's some silver lining there. I doubt it, but I'm just trying to make you feel better.
Like Coach Holmes at Bloomington South, they're 26-0. They won their sectional, and getting ready to move on to the regional, and they don't even get a chance to.
Right,
so
exactly.
You have an undefeated season.
But better than where we were talking a little bit off air about the baseball programs in high school right now. So, as shitty as the season ended for high school basketball, think of the kids that were going out to try to win scholarships or get scholarships in baseball, or maybe JUCO guys or NAIA or whatever the case may be, and not even having the opportunity at all. That's really tough, man.
Really feel for these kids, especially the seniors and coaching staffs. Just not the way we scripted it out, but
what can you do?
What can you do?
Yeah, what can you do? Yeah. All right, so new venture. So we talked about some of the downside of the COVID-19 shit with how everybody's seasons ended or didn't even take off, but it has given you guys some time to put together a new website that you originally came down here to talk to me about today, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna throw your ass in this podcast, and we're gonna go with it. The website is feelforthegame.com. Can you tell me a little bit about it and tell our listeners a little bit about it?
This is something that's been in the works for a couple years now. Two good coaching friends of mine, Jeremy Roush of Fort Wayne Snyder and Nate Kangany of Whiteland High School, been talking about things. We've shared stuff all the time, and we wanted to provide a platform for coaches to share resources and learn from one another. So it's just a bunch of basketball junkies sharing ideas and learning from other basketball junkies.
So if I go to the website, which I have, and I get on there, if I'm a listener and I get on your website right now, what can I find on there?
We understand there's a lot of different ways to learn, and in our opinion, to be a really good head coach, one of the most important qualities is being a learner, a lifelong learner. So we provide different things such as articles written by various high school and college coaches, film room clips where we break down any film, offense and defense, power timeouts, which are kind of like a 3 to 5 minute mini clinic. And then we've also done Twitter Talks. Tonight we're hosting Travis Steele, head coach at Xavier University, doing a Q&A. And we also have some Zoom sessions where this morning we interviewed an assistant coach at Furman University, Jeremy Groh. Last week we had Alan Stein, very well-known guy out there on the East Coast. So it's been great.
Where can people follow you on Twitter? What's your Twitter handle?
At Feel for the Game with the number 4. Check us out on there. Post stuff all the time and just trying to connect coaches, not only in the state of Indiana, but high school, college, men's, women's, just trying to grow the game we love.
And then I noticed that people visiting your website can throw in their email address that they can be alerted. And so when you throw that up, it's going into, obviously, your guys' distribution list, email list. What kind of emails can they expect to get? Is that just alerting them to new stuff on the site, or is that giving them access to anything specific, or can you talk about that?
Yeah, we have an email subscription, and anytime we publish an article written by one of our coaches, you'll receive that email. For example, woke up this morning, had an email from a coach, and was able to read that article.
Yeah, that's cool,
so
man.
We're looking to do more things with that, but definitely the first step in signing on to the website, go ahead and enter your email there.
And I'm trying to talk you guys into doing a podcast, but this podcast experience has probably squashed those dreams. Like, fuck, I'm not doing that. That was terrible.
No, it's been fun. It's been real fun.
So long-term plans, I know short-term, it's this website. We talked a little bit, and you got the Twitter stuff, which I think is great, and how you were breaking that down and explaining it. It sounded awesome, if you're a coach, especially if you're a young coach, because I was kind of communicating that with you. It's not just like these elite high school coaches or elite college coaches that can benefit from this. It's all ages, no matter if you're a youth coach, middle school coach, or beyond, right? I mean, or even if you're just an aspiring coach and you don't coach anybody right now, but you want to get into it, just kind of absorb that shit, right?
Yep, no doubt. Like I said, we've had this in the works for a while, and this COVID-19 stuff has not been good, but what a great time to launch this. People are craving basketball. We can't work with our athletes. We can't see our athletes, but we can learn.
Right.
And we've been able to provide a platform. These last 3 weeks, we started this thing on April 10th and went live, and I've had a really good following since, and hope we can continue to grow that.
long term? Do you want to tease anything that might be coming up that you guys are playing with or have in the works, or might want to plug a little bit? You don't have to, but I know what I want you to say, but I didn't know if you wanted to come out with it yet.
Yeah, this fall we're hoping to host some think tanks, looking at hosting those in Indianapolis, Bloomington, and Evansville area. A chance to provide a more intimate experience for coaches. Coaching clinics are great, but it's all inflow. These think tanks will provide coaches with an opportunity for outflow. They can share ideas, we can learn from one another, get to know new coaches and connect and stay connected with those coaches for a long time.
And you've already done one, right?
We experimented with one last July, and it was just a huge success. One of the best experiences I've had as a coach in a learning environment, and we want to be able to replicate that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You said it was at the Conrad, right, in Indianapolis?
We're looking at that and hoping we can team up with 19.9 to provide these coaches with a great experience.
I'll be all over that think tank. I'll give everybody plenty to think about in my 5 minutes that you give me to talk to everybody.
If you can get that done in 5 minutes, I'd be surprised.
No, so again, that Twitter handle is at Phil, and then it's the number 4, the game, right, on Twitter. And you got some stuff coming tonight, but this will not be published in time for the Travis stuff. But on Twitter, the great thing is you can always go back and you can follow and call up those old things and stuff too. And you guys are going to continue to have more guests and keep rolling stuff out. So
it's been fun so far. Just as coaches, if we're not learning something new every day, then we're not taking our job very serious. And luckily, we have so many hungry coaches on there that are craving more and more. And we hope we can continue this momentum.
I'm excited for the Travis Steele one. He seems cool.
Yeah,
so
we're excited to learn from him.
You want me to write a couple questions to ask him?
Ask him about what he thinks about the new 19.9 gray shorts. If you haven't seen those yet, make sure you check them out.
We'll hook him up. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you coming down here, shooting the shit, joining us for a little bit. We'll keep checking back with Phil for the game. We'd love to have you back down here at some point, and hopefully we can get something working together on these think tanks, because I think the idea is pretty dope. So
yeah, I appreciate you having me down. Enjoyed checking out your place, and you guys go check out 199.com. Some of the best stuff you can buy.
Go Vikings.
That's right.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the 19.9 podcast with HVS, the High Volume Shooters. For more information, check out the blog at 199.com under HVS. And while you're there, do yourself a favor and pick up some retro college shorts. Till next time.